But anyways, so I asked our Instagram followers what they wanted to know about us, and pretty much all the answers that I got was, what's your major? And then I got one other question being like, how can I be as epic as you?
Whoa.
And then I got one last question that was, when is Treehouse going to accept guests?
That's interesting.
Yes.
So, easy answer. One, easy answer.
Yes.
Two, glad you have that much faith in us. And three, it's out of both of our hands. But why don't we start off with introducing ourselves?
Yes.
So why don't you go first, as you're the one who did pretty much all the groundwork to get this started.
So, I am Wheezy. I am the mother of the podcast. I birthed it.
You birthed it.
Yes. By myself. And now you're like helping.
Right.
Sounds weird. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
I made you all uncomfortable. I made myself
You
uncomfortable.
made your, I'm not uncomfortable.
But anyways, the point is, I am a junior in industrial design. I am Brazilian. And that's right about it. This is who I am.
And you're a resident assistant.
I am an RA. That is correct. I am a resident assistant in Treehouse. I'm also the vice president of IDSA.
There you go. Wow.
Yeah.
Which, for those at home who don't know what IDSA stands for, it stands for...
Industrial Design Society of America.
There you go. I thought you were going to Google it for a second.
No.
Like some vice president.
I just didn't realize you're talking to me.
Yeah. So I can go next. My name is John Antapa. I am also a junior in the industrial design department. I'm from Medford, Massachusetts, and I am currently the Student Government Association president and former Student Government Association and Board of Trustees student trustee. And we're joined here by our sound engineer, who is the man behind the curtain. Why don't you introduce yourself as well?
I mean, I'm not that professional. But hey guys, my name is Aaron Moreno. I am a junior as well. Look at that, 3 juniors
I know,
in industrial
right?
design. But yeah, I am half Mexican, half Peruvian. Grew up in Somerville my whole life, Somerville, Massachusetts. And I love sports.
I know you do.
That's why you're here, representation.
If you're wondering what Aaron looks like, look for the man dressed in all Adidas at the testing
Yes.
site, and then you'll know. My favorite thing is, can I say one of my favorite stories with you is my girlfriend and I went on a road trip to New Hampshire, and we were at like a bunch of outlets, and I, as a joke, there was an Adidas outlet, and Sophia was like, I want to go in and like, I forget what she was looking for. And we went in, and as a joke, I put on my Instagram story a video of the Adidas store, and I went, yo, at Aaron Drosmo. and you didn't even text, like, haha, you wrote, which one is that? Like, you were asking which outlet store it was. I was like, it's New Hampshire. He's like, oh, okay. Like, that was my favorite thing. It was like, damn it, Aaron, of course. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I actually saw Aaron one time.
Yeah.
Did I?
I saw you. No, I saw you from a distance.
Yes.
But you were with your boyfriend, and I was in the footwear section. You were in the apparel section.
Yeah,
and
it gets busy. The footwear section of like Adidas in Somerville, it's very like small and crowded.
Yeah, people love their shoes.
Yeah, they
Could
do.
say that that's probably their most selling point. It's probably I feel like it's sweatpants and shoes.
Why do they waste so much space with the apparel? You better tell
People
them.
buy it.
I guess, but I don't know. Oh my gosh.
It's comfortable.
I didn't realize you're pointing at Aaron.
Yeah, I'm the guy you see at the COVID testing
I was
site
about
too.
to say, I'm like, if you've probably seen Aaron waiting in the 20-minute line at the testing site to get tested. How's that been? Like, has there been like, because I'm assuming in the beginning, like people. Like, I mean, it was interesting, like, getting into the loop of it. Like, I almost felt like I was a burden because it was like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm sorry. But, like, has that, like, changed in any way? Like,
To an extent, yes. But every Tuesday shift I have, there's just this line that just looks so long, and it extends out to the DMC front door.
Yeah.
And, but, no, for the most part, it's pretty easy. I mean, if it's someone's first time testing, usually tell them what to do pretty quick. I've actually been working there for about 2 years now.
Since the beginning.
Yeah. So a lot of that practice and a lot of that knowledge and experience, it makes it easy to work with others to help them out in any way I can.
Yeah, that's
very,
very cool.
Great appreciative, because obviously it needs to be done, and it's something that, you know, who knows how much longer it'll last for.
Forever.
But hopefully don't say that.
We gotta be realistic.
I know.
Like the people yesterday, this would be like a thing for when COVID is like not around and we can be fully in person. I'm like, girl.
Right.
Like, it's 2022. We thought that was gonna happen like last year.
Right. Like, we'll wait a week, we'll be fine, and now
Yes.
it's 2 years later. But it is good to hopefully have some positivity. But let's talk about what the podcast is and why you started it.
I started the podcast, I think, I was very excited when I first heard that Massart did have a podcast already. I think the idea behind the podcast came from, first off, like listening to the podcast that Massart already have, which is Octopus Sounds and Art at the End of the World. Both of them are by EventWorks, which is like this sim class that people do things. But I thought that like they didn't really express Massart things. They were more like artists podcast.
Right.
Because they talk about like specific students and they go through like what they're doing and how they're like being an artist. So I was like, I figured that there was a need for a Massart podcast about Massart.
Right.
You know?
All the things going on campus and getting to know the staff and faculty and people from the dining hall, people from public safety, and then all the way up to administration.
Yeah, I also feel like being an RA, being a junior, like knowing a lot of people now, being part of SGA too, like there's this constant need of communicating Massart things and resources and people to the students. And I hear a lot of complaints from students about things that like exist.
Right.
Like the answers are there, they just don't know about it by either they didn't read their emails or it was never clearly communicated to them. So I kind of wanted to fill that gap a little bit. And also I feel like one of the big things for me learning was it's not one big like system that make decisions for the school. It's, you know, this whole group of people who work together, who are humans, who have families and go back home, and they make the school work. And I think that's kind of amazing, because you don't think about it, right? You don't think about like who's making the COVID decisions, who's making like administration decisions. And I think the biggest thing too is like students have a really a great power in this school, and I think in any school they just like figure that they have to accept whatever is happening to them, whatever decision was made, but they don't. So I want students to be able to kind of like fight for what they want,
right?
Because I feel like a lot of times it's a lot of like, I wish this and that, I think this and that is not good, but not enough. Let's take a step and make a difference.
Right. Yeah, I definitely think that the emails can be overwhelming. I know that on the SGA side, like we've talked about, like the SGA president email account is the only student account I think that can send out all student emails. And I know that when we've talked about like how do we communicate this, it comes down to like, is this something we send out to the SGA reps and then they communicate it, or is it something I send to all the students? And it's kind of like trying to not clutter the email. They do their best to make sure that like we're not overwhelming people. And I definitely think that I'm on the firm stance that I'd rather over communicate than under communicate.
For sure.
But I feel like this will be a great way for people who I know I see some of the long emails and I just zone out for a minute and then I snap back into reality and I'm like, all right, I've got to read this and get the information.
Yeah.
But I think this will be a good way too to sort of, for the people who learn better by listening or just want to like put this on in the studio and work.
Yeah.
I mean, like I listen to music a lot whenever I'm on Tower 10, but I'm trying to do more podcasts or audiobooks. I have like 12 Audible credits I got to get through. So if anyone has any good book recommendations, please let me know. because I need to get rid of, because they expire. Like you're only allowed 12, and then they are like, they get rid of it. I digress. But it was fun. And it's good, and you can do a lot of things with it, and I think that we're going to have a good time trying to figure it out. I mean, we all get along pretty well. I don't want to
No,
force
we
you to
don't.
say-
We don't.
Aaron, you guys suck. But we all met, like, I mean, you guys met
Back in the day.
Compass.
Yeah,
Compass
Compass.
and
You were supposed to be a part
I was
of
supposed
it.
to be there,
Yeah.
and I commuted and was too lazy.
Yeah, John decided that he was too good for us.
No, I didn't know what it was, and I was like, I don't know what this is, and I thought, because like I got the bookstore emails, and I was like, I don't know what this is,
Yeah.
and then it was like clearly communicating, and I was like, I do not have the time for, like, I can't, like, I just couldn't make it work with the schedule I had first semester, and then I was like, now I feel weird coming into it, like, so I mean, I still get the emails, and I tell them, like,
And the money.
I know, and I keep telling them, I'm like, keep the money, like, I'm not using it, like, I'm like, use it, like, distribute it more, and it's a whole bunch of, but whatever, but yeah, no, Compass, and then the three of us met in Tower 10, obviously, with industrial design,
Yeah.
and just add this to the list of things that industrial designers have to learn or do, but, yeah, I mean, I feel like the great thing about ID is how small it is.
Yes.
Because there's 20 of us now. It changes every semester,
Yeah,
but it's
because
usually
people come
around
back.
no more. I think like the sophomores are 15 right now.
Wow.
But
that's
it's like
even less.
it's like between 15 and 25,
Mm-hmm.
I'd say, for class sizes. Which, like, I mean, like, we've made plans to go out to eat. Like, we've hung out like outside. Like, Aaron and I, because I commuted last year. Aaron and I would be up at Tower 10. We'd be the only ones up there until like 10:30, 11, pretty much, like during finals week every night. And then you and I hung out more towards the end. We went on a double date, and was it the summer? Was it during classes? I can't remember.
No, it was in the summertime. I think it was a couple weeks before class.
That's probably what it was. And honestly, like, if you ever want to have like a fun time, get two industrial designers in a room.
I thought you were going to say like
room.
get to industrial design, like transfer to industrial design.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to have a good time, transfer to industrial
No.
design. It's a fun place.
What do you mean? Like, you have to learn. Okay,
We have to learn a lot of things, but it's good for the future.
a lot of different things.
Exactly. I mean, like, Nick is our beloved classmate who I still think is responsible, at least partially responsible for why we're all close, because he started the Discord for
That
us
is
to communicate.
true.
And
I
I feel
agree.
like if Nick didn't start that, I don't know if, like, we'd be as close. I mean, like, all of our personalities work well,
Yeah.
but I don't know if, like, that level of communication would be up there.
For sure.
But I remember you were shoes, right? That was one of the things that you wanted to pursue. Was
One
like
of them,
shoe
yeah.
design, and everyone makes the joke that, like, that's what industrial design is: a shoe design and car design, I think.
Yeah.
And then I think Camo and I were doing an ARC thing, and Cam made the joke that, like, this is what industrial design is, and it was just like a factory. It's like, this is not what we do. We don't do that. And like all the first years were looking at us like, I don't know what you're talking about, guy. Like, get to the point.
Yeah. That's funny. What else do you want to do, Aaron?
I'm very, very big on like tech and everyday carry, like tools or equipment or small little things, objects. Yeah, I'm a big fan of music in general.
Right.
Electronic music has a very nice spot in my heart. And yeah, I would say ever since high school, actually freshman year, I bought like my first pair of like truly wireless earbuds. And I was so stoked to get like my first pair. And they were a budget pair too. They were only like $32.
Yeah.
And then now like progressing and like seeing and trying to be on top of like what's out there right now, like what's available, like what's available to purchase. And most times it's things that I can't afford, like flagship prices, like $1,000+ for I don't know, just a pair of headphones.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I look more towards like the budget market to see like what I can actually get into my hands and like try out. And so it's something that I have a big interest in now. So besides footwear, I would say tech in general, even like laptops, computers, and such.
What about you, Weezy? Staring at me like...
I want to be a trophy wife. That's what I want to do. I've told you already.
I know we've had this discussion.
Yes. But that's not realistic, is it?
No one's saying that. But what made you want to get involved on? I guess we could talk about, because one of the questions was, how can we be epic like you? And I think that
it was Aveline who said, because like Aveline is epic.
Yeah.
I don't understand why.
Yeah.
Like she's asking us how to be epic.
Right. But she does a lot around campus.
That
And it's
is
like
true.
it's like one of the people that's like comfortable both in the spotlight and behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And it's great to have someone who can do both.
Yes.
Getting involved on campus is a great way to be epic, because then you get your voice heard, and there's a lot of issues on campus that can be solved if there's a student voice on it, and the only way to get student voices on it is if people show up and do it.
I agree.
And that's the unfortunate reality. It's, we can only do so much. Like anyone in student leadership can only do so much and answer so many questions or be on so many subcommittees.
Yeah.
But the call to action to sort of to I guess be involved. I guess, Aaron, what was your sort of call to action for being involved? I'd say you're like a student leader. I'd say like all the testing site members are student leaders on campus.
Agree.
Because it takes a lot to be able to do that and handle that. Because you're not just dealing with students, you're dealing with faculty and everyone that enters this campus.
That is true.
Like it's a big job. Like I like it's not something to be overlooked. I think it's solid.
You also didn't you do like a lot of stuff with Compass back in the day, spring semester or freshman year, first year?
I did. Lisa Palawai, who I'm very thankful for. She literally created a job for me to do, which is basically like run errands, shred papers, organize just the space in general up there on the 11th floor for Compass. And yeah, I enjoyed my time up there before COVID.
Yeah.
Just organizing the space. And even though like I wasn't like talked about or didn't get any sort of
like
praise from it,
yeah.
like I was completely fine with that. Just knowing that I was able to move things around, move furniture around, or help with the workload that Lisa or anyone else on the 11th floor had to do, which I was very thankful for that opportunity.
Yeah. And then you, as this is your first time as an RA.
Me?
Yeah,
Yes.
and getting involved. Like I'm not sure if I don't know your history with being involved on campus, but I know this is like the biggest one.
Yeah.
I'd assume it's the
Yeah.
biggest one.
Yeah. Being
Because
an RA.
it's a pretty big job.
I forgot to mention I was a primer as well.
Oh my
You were?
gosh, Aaron was
That's
a primer.
right. Primer Aaron. Which year did you prime this summer?
No, he didn't.
Last.
Oh, last year. Okay, the virtual one, right?
The virtual
Yeah,
one.
the 2020. Yeah.
Oh, that must have been difficult.
It was.
But yes, no. Being an RA it's fun. I've made so many friends by being an RA, which was one of the things that I was going for. Just by 20 people were added to like people that I'm friends with. Being able to be in touch with people who are like from different majors was really helpful. I felt very lonely for a long time. My first year, like at Massart, and also like my last year of high school in the US, like not being able to make sustainable relationships with people.
Right.
So I really, really wanted to like put myself out there. But then of course COVID hit.
Right.
But as I was able to, when I joined industrial design and like I was on 10th floor, I was able to like get this awesome group of people. And there was this other Brazilian girl who I met a long time ago, by chance actually. Her dad used to go to the church that I went to.
Oh.
And then I met her dad, and then her dad was like, "Hey, my daughter goes to Massart." And then she
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
And then she became an RA. And then I kind of like would talk to her because I was actually rejected by Massart at first. Did I ever tell you that?
You did tell me that. That's right. Because
Yeah.
you're older than us, and I remember that now.
Yes. I'm a month older than you, John.
But you were a grade above me because you graduated in 2018.
That is true.
Oh, so it's like that weird cutoff
Yeah.
thing?
No.
But wait, no. That doesn't
No.
make any...
It's just because I was rejected. I am a year early, technically. And that's because they made me late, technically. I was supposed to graduate in December of 2016. High school. I was supposed to graduate high school in December of 2016.
How old are you?
I am 20.
Yeah, so am I. I graduated 20. Wait, what?
You're supposed to say, you're 20?
Oh, like, am I supposed to?
Look, from the meme.
Oh, you're 20.
Yes.
I mean, I'm 21, so.
Look at Aaron.
This guy. Graham's over here.
He brings the booze to our
No,
gatherings.
don't even joke about it. For legal reasons, that's a joke.
Yes. For a lot of legal reasons. But anyways, my point is, yes, I am 20. I was supposed to graduate when I was like 16 in Brazil.
Okay.
That didn't happen. And then when I moved to the U.S., I don't have to explain my whole like life story, but
That's
the point
interesting,
is,
That's for another podcast.
I guess. But the point is that she told me to be an RA because she became an RA. And then I didn't apply my sophomore year because I was like, I'll never get this job. But then for the sophomore year.
Yeah.
But on my sophomore year, I was like, I'm gonna apply. And then I did. And then I was like, yeah, I want to make friends and be more in touch with the school. That was the whole thing, because I wanted to live on campus to be able to be more connected to the school. Because I felt like I missed out on a lot of stuff by being a commuter.
I still have to look at your application that you sent me.
Oh, I already submitted.
Oh, you already submitted that? I just remembered you said that to me, and I had to look at it. I'm sure if it was anything like last year's that I read, it would probably be fine.
He wasn't as sharp at all. But I do have a year of being an RA under my belt.
Right.
So I'm hoping that...
As long as you don't have a lot of complaints, you'll be fine.
I hope I don't. But my residents don't complain directly to me. And that's
right.
the thing, though. Like, they should. Like, if you think I'm not doing a good job, like, you have to let... Also, that's also one of the things why we're talking. Like, communicate with people.
Right.
Like, even though I am a human being, like, if I'm not doing my job right, you gotta let me know.
Right.
You gotta address it. Like, if you're not comfortable telling me, like, go tell my boss.
Yeah, Laura Flynn tells me I'm doing it. She fires me practically every day. It's fine.
Oh, really?
No, it's a joke. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
She's like, you're fired. You messed up. How could you do this? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I forgot to put a poster on the second floor of Kennedy. She's like, how could you?
Oh yeah, and not you also giving us like wrong information about where to meet for the SGA.
Okay, so in my defense,
I don't know how to say that word.
Jeopardize?
Yes, the podcast.
I did like, so, yeah, that's my bad. Because we have been meeting in the DMC lecture hall, and now we're meeting in K280, Kennedy K280. And I had asked, like, it was like, oh, we're switching over. So I thought that meant all the meetings would be switching over. And then I talked to Laura Tuesday night, and she's like, oh, we're in the lecture hall. And I was like, and I had to go track down everyone. And like I was like to Reed, because I had told Reed, and I thought I told architecture, but apparently I didn't, because they looked at me like, no, you didn't tell us that. And I'm like, okay. And then I was like, did I tell Wheaton? Like, nah, I didn't. I don't think I told Wheezy. And then I got your snap where it's like, I'm in Kennedy, and I was like, oh, I knew I forgot someone.
Yeah, and I was like, wait. I was telling Laura, because she was there for some reason.
Because her office is on the same floor as Kennedy, so she was also probably there, because I did say I told some people, and she's like, I'm gonna wait and see if people show up, because this idiot, he's fired, he's gone. Yeah. See you later. He's been impeached.
Can we impeach him?
I don't think so.
But yeah.
Yeah, so that can be a transition. I was in student government in high school.
Yes.
I ran my sophomore year and I lost.
Okay.
I ran my junior year and I lost. And I ran my senior year and I won. And I was like, this is the pity vote. But we got a lot done, and we had a lot of fun, and I loved being high school president. And like, high school president isn't a lot of stuff. Like, you don't get a lot done.
Really?
Like you don't have as much influence. Like, you're still a kid.
Right.
So like, it's like whatever.
We're
like
15.
You can like bring up an idea, and like the administration's like, no. They're like, no, go back to class. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So
there's also no such a thing as like students' voices in high school.
I mean, there is. We've had a few walkouts. Mostly about pertaining to gun violence and gun laws.
Okay, yeah.
Throughout high school.
I'm just impressed that you managed to like rhyme in between, like you're like, had a lot of fun, got a lot done.
Did I rhyme?
Yeah, you did.
Wow, I didn't even realize that. I saw you react, and I was like, did I say something wrong? Like, did I mess up?
I was also wondering.
I was like, that was kind of connecting.
Respect.
Yeah.
Look at, there we go. Look at that. But, and then I decided, we were at the dinner table, and I was complaining about the city government. And I was like, I'm going to run for mayor one day. And my mom was like, well, run for school committee first. And as a joke.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I'll do that. I was like, how old do you have to be? And she's like, I don't know. So then she texted the now mayor, who was running for mayor in that election.
Oh, wow.
And was like, how old do you have to be to run for like school committee? And she was like 18. And I was like, I'm pulling papers. And then like my dad was like, yeah, okay. And then went on Facebook the next day and saw me outside of City Hall holding a packet of papers and was like, oh, he was serious. So then I pulled papers a few weeks after graduation. I ran a school committee campaign. I lost. And then the trustee position was open. Because the trustee at the time had dropped it, and I ran against some juniors and seniors and somehow managed to pull it off. And then I've been an SGA since, and I switched from the trustee to president last year. So I had technically 2 terms as trustee.
That's awesome.
And then ran for president. So this is my first term as president. This is technically my 3rd term on SGA.
I thought that you had like abandoned that last year.
No, I was on the board of trustees last year, but I was there was a time where I was both.
For Medford.
No, board of trustees was for Massart.
Oh.
Yeah, board of trustees was Massart.
When did we do the switch?
When did I what?
No,
when
did we switch talking from like Medford to
Oh,
Massart?
I meant to say that I lost the school committee run. So I lost the school committee run in November.
Yes.
And then December the job posting went out. And I was still on that high of, it was either December or January, and I was still on that, like, I want to do something. Mm-hmm. And so I ran for that in January, and I got the job in February.
At Massart. Okay.
And then the pandemic hit, and then I was reelected.
Yeah.
And then in our sophomore year when we met,
yes,
I then ran for president.
Really?
I switched.
So you weren't president?
This is my first term as president.
Of SGA?
Yeah.
Why people have been calling you president since like I was a first year?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if people thought I was the president, but I wasn't. This is my first term as president.
What?
Yeah.
I remember you running for it.
No, I ran for trustee.
What is a trustee?
Student trustee. It's like the school committee of the college. It's like the checks and balances. Like,
so like the thing that you do with like Sarah. Is it Sarah her name? She talked yesterday. Rebecca.
Oh, Rebecca. That Jenny Rebecca Falsetta was the chair.
So do you sit with her?
Of the liberal arts committee. No, she's not on the board of trustees. She's on the all university committee, which makes decisions about the school, which is what I sit on now as president. It's a subcommittee. It's like if you represented ID in a different, like you met with other faculty and had to make decisions based on the school.
That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. Wait.
Okay.
There's the SGA.
There's the Student Government Association.
Yes.
Which I'm president of.
And you've been president of.
For this semester. I mean, for fall and spring semester.
Then who was it before?
It was Katiana Rodriguez and then Kathleen Hernandez.
And how come you've been sending emails for the sophomores that were freshmen last year?
I sent an email last year because, so you want to be even more confused? I sit on the SAC, which is the Student Advisory Council.
How do you even find that kind of like stuff?
So the Student Advisory Council, it was given to me. Like they told me like you have to be a part of this, or like you should be a part of this.
Okay.
Because it's basically made up of all the student trustees and all the presidents of every state university and community college across the Commonwealth.
Okay.
So we all get together from Consigman College to Bunker Hill to Massart. Yes. We get together and we talk about all things of the Commonwealth, and there's a member on that board who actually sits on the Department of Higher Education's Board of Higher Education.
Okay.
The Board of Higher Education's.
Yes.
The Department of Education, whatever. And so there was a law, because a student trustee is a a state position. You're employed by the state.
Is it paid?
No. It's not. The Board of Trustees role is not paid.
Yikes.
So there was a charge given. I'm probably going to mess this up, but I believe it was by the trustee at Cape Cod Community College.
Okay.
Who wanted to make a more equitable environment.
Okay.
So that part-time students could run for trustee, because at the time part-time students couldn't.
Right.
So then I sent out an email. Oh, there was a time last year where I was the only member of SGA. There was no.
Then how were you not the president?
I technically sat because I was a trustee.
But you ran.
I ran for student trustee.
No.
Yes. Like sophomore year.
No.
I ran for student trustee.
You've been lying to me.
No, I'm not. But what are you talking about?
You told me that you run for president. I voted for you.
In our sophomore year, I ran for president.
No.
Yes.
Our first year.
No, you voted for me for student trustee. It was a special election in March or February.
Sure. It was in the springtime. I remember
Yes, it was in the
that.
spring. It was in the very beginning of the spring semester.
And then sophomore year,
you
ran for president again.
I ran for president once.
So what did you run for in sophomore year?
No, okay. I ran twice freshman year.
Yes.
Because it was a special election.
That's a lot of running.
Yeah, I'm not athletic. It was in February. I ran to get on the board of trustees.
Okay.
And then
Are you flipping her off?
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm like,
sorry.
Why are you being rude?
Okay, I'll do it like this. And then in March or April, I ran again.
For what?
For student trustee. Because I had to run to get into sophomore year's term. The first time I ran.
Hazel was the president.
No, Hazel was the trustee.
President.
Trustee. Hazel was the student trustee.
How many trustees there are?
There's one student trustee.
Oh. What do you do?
We trust people.
Well, I don't trust you.
We grant tenure. We deal with the college budget. We keep the president in check. We keep everyone we deal with all that.
So what's the difference of the SGA president and trustee?
SGA president, I have more influence over student life and I sit on the all university committee, which happens with curriculum, or can help with curriculum and how things can be structured. I'm really bad at explaining AUC because this is only my second semester on it, and it's a very complex thing. Okay. But it's
and you are there because you're the president.
Because I'm the president, I'm there. So the biggest thing the trustees did, because this will kind of help explain what we do.
Okay.
When I was a first year, I got the call from David P. Nelson, that he was stepping down as president of the college.
For the as a trustee.
No, as the president of the college.
He
was.
I know David.
David. So.
But you got the call as a trustee.
He called me as a trustee.
Okay.
Because the president reports to the board of trustees or talks with them a lot.
So if it's a board of trustees, why is it just you?
It wasn't. He called me to let me. He was personally calling people.
Okay.
When you leave a job,
yes.
Sometimes you'll call people and be like, I'm stepping down from this position.
Yes.
Instead of telling everyone at once. A lot of times people will do that as a courtesy. To be like, hey, we had a lot of fun working together. I just want to let you know. He's nice. I respect you. I want to let you know that I'm leaving. And I was like, okay. And then we were and then a subcommittee. Do you know what a subcommittee is?
No.
A subcommittee is a section of a more specific committee from the general board. So there's the general board of trustees. They can't see me doing these hand motions. There's a general board of the board of trustees.
They can hear it.
Right, they can hear me circling the table. So
yes.
There's the general board of trustees.
Yes.
The chair at the time, Jen Saragoni, said we need some of you to sit on a committee to find the search committee, the firm that'll help lead the search committee.
That I knew.
No one a few people were doing it, but we still needed numbers, and I went, I'll do it.
Okay.
Because I don't know how to say no.
And that's...
So then I sat on that. We found the search firm.
Yes.
And then I was then appointed. She called me and said, I want you to serve on the actual search committee.
Okay.
So then I, as a trustee, along with a few others, did the search to find Mary Grant.
And Who's on the board? Like, are you the only student on the board?
I'm the only student on the board.
And then the rest is just random adults?
The rest, it's I forget the exact. They're all appointed by the governor.
By the governor?
Of Massachusetts.
Charlie Baker?
Charlie Baker. And some of them were appointed before Charlie Baker.
So he was the one who picked you?
No. I'm the only one that the students pick. The students pick me. That's in the laws of Massachusetts. The students must pick a student trustee. I was picked by the students to serve. Like, we had at a board of trustees retreat where we like analyzed like
retreat.
It was like, yeah, they called it a retreat. We met basically in the morning on a weekend, and like we went over like the statistics of the school, like the enrolled students, the budget,
like fun.
All that. It actually was. There was breakfast. It was cool. Okay. And the board of higher education came and met, and Representative Garbely, Sean Garbely, who represents Arlington and West Medford, came and asked and was like, "What do you say to people who say that artists, what's your real job going to be?"
Yeah.
Like, what do you guys say to that? Like, I'm pretty sure, I don't want to speak on his behalf, I'm pretty sure he comes from an arts background, or like someone in his family was in the arts, and he's a huge supporter of the arts. He's at everything. I always see him. He's a good buddy of mine.
That seems nice.
Yeah, no, we call it sometimes. And I had basically said, like, there are illustration students who work in the medical field because they know the body more than anyone else.
Yeah.
Like proportions, they'll do medical illustrations. I mean, it's like you got jobs from people who, someone in SIM who I met at work who graduated from SIM who does window displays for a living.
Yeah.
They buy all the stuff and they make storefronts look lively. That's their job.
I know a couple people that do psychology.
Really?
Yeah, that went for psychology after like Massart. So we talked, and this was what we think it's gonna be, Mastodon Noises. But the rest of the episodes are not gonna look like this.
No.
They're gonna have other people who hopefully are gonna have just as interesting things, or hopefully more interesting things for you to hear about.
And up next we have Mary Grant in our first episode of
That is
interviewing,
true.
which is starting off the gate strong, just getting the president of the college of the university in. But
that's how I pushed myself.
Yeah.
To get the podcast done, because before I was like, okay, Laura, can I do this? And Laura was like, yeah. And then I was like, oh. And then I reached out to the president's office right away, so I wouldn't like bail or like give up on the idea.
Right.
Because the president was like expecting me to address it.
That's a good way. I think diving in the deep end is a great way.
Like I went as far as I could go.
Right. But we're going to be talking about some school events coming up.
Yes.
Talking about some SGA events with students, as well as deadlines, and interview Mary Grant.
Yeah, the juicy secrets of being Massart's president.
But that's our pilot episode.
Yes.
I think it was a good one. Thank you, Aaron, for joining us.
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
A first guest.
Yes.
Thank you for coming. All right. But I think that's all.
Yes.
So have a great rest of your day, night, or evening, or whatever it may be.
Yes. Keep
and
making
we'll see
art.
you in the next episode. Yeah, keep being you. Keep being the artists and designers of the future.
Be true to yourself.
Right.
Aaron, do you have any final things to say?
I do not.
Buy Adidas.
Buy Adidas.
And get your COVID tests.
Adidas, sponsor us.
Adidas, not an official sponsor.
Yes. All right. Yeah.
I think that's good.
Time to go.
Cool.
Okay, I'm tired. Like, bye.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Peace.
Oh, my ears.
Get your Dunkin's, kid.
Get your... No.
Free coffee.